Welcome. Hello. Hey everyone. Time for Blocktalk. We are on Bitcoin block 426579. So halfway through this whole difficulty change here, so we're just coming along, and I'll have to see how the mempool is doing. Maybe once we get to the end of the month here, we'll see all the payments come through for paychecks and everything. But other than that, we got some awesome sponsors to talk about. We got our usual Coinigy. These guys are connected to almost every crypto exchange on the market right now, including GDAX. If you want to be trading Litecoin before it hits the public exchange and it's still on their API, check it out there. And sign up today at coinigy.com/blocktalk and help book the show. Our other sponsor is Syscoin. We've had these guys on the show before twice, and they are definitely developing some cool stuff. If you're familiar with OpenBazaar, this is probably the best competition for them in the space. It's a blockchain-based marketplace for e-commerce, and they actually just formed a company, so they had a more official means of investors to work with their company. Called Blockchain Founders, based in Toronto. So hopefully I'll do an interview with them in the next month here as they are rolling out the block market. All the stuff with Microsoft sounds pretty cool too. So read about it at syscoin.org. Check out the link below. And without further ado, let's get on to the main event. We got probably the craziest crypto around. It's changing the world, except maybe it's not. I don't know. Hi, I'm Alex, and let's go to our awesome panelists here. We got Chris Derose.
What's up, party people?
Hey, and your friend, I'm gonna forget this. Tayshun.
Tayshun. This is Tayshun. Fuck off.
Awesome. So you guys are from the Bitcoin Uncensored podcast, and yeah, it's definitely fun time. You had a great scoop going to a Onecoin event. So we'll hear about that more in a sec. I'm just going to introduce our other guest here. We've got Tim. Tayshun?
Temptation.
I'm sorry. and Tim's got an awesome prize wheel that we have rigged up here. So we'll be giving away some Bitcoin and altcoins during the show. So you guys got to be ready with your addresses and your smartphones to scare some private keys if you want to get lucky. Hopefully the resolution's good enough there that we can get those QR codes coming through the screen, or maybe before Tim melts in the sun.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, so no, thanks for joining us today, guys. This is going to be a pretty fun show. I can tell already. We've had some good laughs before we went live. But Chris, why don't you tell us about going to a OneCoin event and kind of the whole atmosphere there and the people you came across and the guys putting it on.
Yeah, so Johnson and I were planning on going to. We actually started planning on going to the wrong event. Like a week, we went to the wrong event a week before.
Way up north.
The week before it was scheduled. We were there. Nobody else was there. We were sitting there looking stupid, and no one showed up. And then just by dumb luck, we went to our Bitcoin meetup right afterwards, and then we found out roughly about this meeting that was going on that was even bigger than the one that we missed. So we have this guy who shows up at our Bitcoin meeting. Is OneCoin Bob is his name. And OneCoin Bob gives us the OneCoin update because he wants us all in his downline.
Right.
And we kind of humor him because he's incredibly dumb.
He's so stupid.
And it's kind of funny. And so he comes over. OneCoin Bob give us the update. And so he told us about this event.
I have really good news for you.
Yeah, it's always really good news from OneCoin Bob. Yeah.
China's made OneCoin the only legal cryptocurrency in all of China.
It's part of the comic relief. We have weird meetups down here in South Florida. We need we have the drug dealers and we have the hookers. And we need the comic relief at times, and he provides that. So he told us about this event down in Miami, which luckily enough, Droplister was in town for, who's another Bitcoiner that we hang out with. And so
we thought it'd be a good time to show him what we do.
Yeah. So we got the idea to go over there and just check it out. And we were told that this was going to be the big event, and they all told us there that this was even unprecedented, I think, by their own standards. And
there was like 90 to 100 people there.
Yeah, they rented out a hotel. It was
a Holiday Inn, a very fancy hotel.
It was at a Holiday Inn. And we went in there, but we went in there separately, like kind of clandestine. Like you and I pretended not to know each other.
Yeah, we didn't.
We had Droplister. I put on Dante and Art. Also.
I put on blackface.
Blackface.
Yeah, so no one know who I was.
I don't remember blackface.
Well, I didn't do that.
Yeah. So we sat at separate tables, and it was really obvious in hindsight because we're the only ones that were under like 30, right? That were there, or under 35 or whatever the hell.
Also, we're the only ones who had any questions.
and we don't have any questions, right? Some people were clearly there for like just the food, which I thought was hilarious.
There was a mega hot chick that was next to me. She was under 30.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I like the food people because they were double scammers. They were scamming like the ecosystem feed off,
Right.
Like
Yeah,
some weirdness going on. So yeah,
Well, what was on the menu?
Chicken.
rubber chicken.
I was gonna eat some, but like things happened.
Literally, the moment he was picking it up,
I was picking it up to put it in my mouth.
like
That
the
was like
whole
when the
event went
explosion
down,
happened.
and then he had to put it down and he
Right.
eat, which was really funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't.
Like I had it in my mouth.
So we got there. What happened? We got there. We got there. They gave us like some elementary pitches, but they wouldn't let us ask questions really.
Right. The whole thing. It was a guy up front. He would talk. He was talking, giving his presentation. And for me, I just like we had a whole thing planned. I was gonna get kicked out first. So I started. Because I'm really good at that. I'm really good at that.
Dropless, or maybe was kicked out. Maybe.
And then we were gonna let the others like sit there and like just like tell us what happened. But I started trying to ask questions, and they just wouldn't have it. They wouldn't answer my questions. They
What
wouldn't
you
even let
see
me
on
ask.
video is probably the best part of. So there's a video on YouTube of this right now. It's got about 10,000 views. I want to say maybe 8,000, something like that.
8,800, 9,000, yeah.
And what that video is Art is holding his camera phone, and you're watching like the 1 or 5 questions that they managed to ask.
And I tried to ask them very loudly, but they like wouldn't answer them in front of the group.
Yeah, and this speech was really like shisty. Like the guy was using like some Christian words, I think.
Oh yeah.
Like they'll let the evil one tell you not to invest and put all your money in it, and put your life savings in here.
And they were talking about like people like if you have a Roth IRA with unused money, like what the fuck? Then like maybe you want to take it out and put it into OneCoin.
Yeah, and then they did this thing. It was Droplets pointed this out. They had their own plants in the audience, and their own plants were sitting adjacent to regular attendees. And the head of the room would say, like, well, what is your experience with OneCoin? You've been using OneCoin. And then he'd stand up, like, at his table, and he'd explain to everybody how much money he's made, and like, a little bit of his life story and how this is going to, like, change his life and how. So they
were all punters. Like, that was a really, like, all of these guys were old people who, like, are on their last stages trying to, like, desperately save for retirement.
Yeah, Hail Mary pass. They really wanted to get that Hail Mary so that they could, like, I don't know, their wives will love them and their kids will have respect for them or something. It was really sad. There were a number of minorities in there, which I have a special soft spot for that. I feel like minorities really get, I don't know why, basically because they're immigrants or something half the time. But if you looked at the demographics, it's kind of weird because like when you go to a Bitcoin meeting, it's all like 30-year-old white guys generally, and then like the drug dealers. But if you go to like a OneCoin event, it's all old people and like the elderly and the indigent and stuff like that.
People that were laughing at us for Bitcoin, by the way.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what's really funny about it.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a press release after the fact where apparently OneCoin was telling like the people that came, was like, they were sent 5 Bitcoin to make us look bad.
Well, that's what they said there. Well, I said that at the end too. If you listen to the audio, they asked who sent me, and I said Bitcoin.
They're not. We're there to have fun, really. Like people, I think, want us to be like nice guys, and like maybe we incidentally do nice things, but we're mostly there to have fun.
Yeah, since then, like people have been trying to give us like scams to bust.
Yeah, well, so if they're fun, we'll do it.
Yeah,
I mean, I get scam assignments all the time.
Of course.
Now, anyways,
we're not here to scam bust. We do it because it's fun for us.
So what ended up happening was they let the initial speech was over. They let everybody go get food, and then afterwards, like I was getting really agitated, like angry, like super angry, because the language was so strong. The people were so ignorant, and this guy knew what he was doing in the center of the room, and like it just was bothering me. So,
and I was taking a more pragmatic approach. I was kind of like trying to like talk to him and understand where he was, what was going on, like whether he himself was a scammer or whether he was just like pitching a scam that he also had his money in. And then, just as I'd gotten some food, I'd come back to the table. I grabbed a piece of rubber chicken and was slowly moving it towards my mouth. I hear Chris scream, "You're a scammer!"
Yeah. So I parallel to him was working the tables, telling people why this was a scam.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was I eventually got like Will's attention.
You're going to jail, and you're going to jail.
And I made a big old demonstration there, standing up and yelling, and the whole room's watching. Yeah. And you showed up too. They didn't put together at that time.
No.
So like you jumped in that we were together.
Well, I had food on my plate.
Didn't really
I had to,
know.
Put the food down. And then I also had to I guess this is the time that we're doing this.
Right. So we did a whole thing. I told him that like I write for American Banker and that I was on the cover of
Miami New Times.
Yeah, with you.
Yeah.
And that this was a scam. And some people recognized us actually from the New Times. Which was really funny. Like the kids at the front even were taking like attendance.
Someone came out. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I did this whole thing, and then we left. Like, I don't know where we left. They told us we had to go, but it didn't really matter. Like there was no more to say. And after we
the
left, the whole
meeting,
thing
the meetings
started,
kind of like
yeah,
let out. Yeah.
Right. And so we were in the parking lot. And we were talking to people, and then we still had our plants that were there, Dropless and Dante and Art, and they were in the corner of the room, and like the organizer came to them and apologized for those wingnuts, not knowing that they had in fact arrived with us in the very same car.
Right.
They were our plants, and they told them that this is just they were angry Bitcoiners. They were mad at OneCoin's success, kind of thing.
Right.
And that was most of the night. I mean, there's more to the story after, but that's the gist.
Cool. Well, maybe I'll take this moment to go to Tim, because I guess he's been doing a lot of research in the past year on OneCoin as well, and maybe you have some experience with some OneCoiners as well, Tim.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. Yeah, so last year, maybe in March, shortly after the whole Paycoin fiasco, train wreck finished up, someone pinged me about, hey, this OneCoin thing, it's, the new Bitcoin. I'm like, okay. So I went over to their site, and I'm like, how to pay, and, it's Visa, MasterCard, bank transfer, ACH.
Or Bitcoin.
First cryptocurrency company in history to not accept cryptocurrency. Subsequently, it took them 19 months to actually first begin accepting any cryptocurrency, which was Bitcoin, and that was directly after their China Union Pay account got closed down after there were arrests in China, and about, what was it, $45.7 million worth of assets were seized from OneCoiners who were two or three OneCoin leaders who were pimping OneCoin as well as a couple other Ponzi schemes. So OneCoin is absolutely illegal in China. The Chinese government for the past few years have been breaking down, trying to cut down on cyber crimes and attacking them through an operation called Hurricane. And in order to obtain and arrest these guys, they worked directly with the Guangdong police department, and that's how they caught them. And there's some videos online showing, the local news, China news station, whatever, that clearly illustrates that this was that they were part of OneCoin, although OneCoiners deny that these members or leaders had anything to do with OneCoin.
That makes sense.
They do a lot to distance themselves from their affiliates. It's very strange. We've uncovered a number of weirdness going on there.
Including the global cash card thing.
They maintain that they have no U.S. presence.
Right.
They have the global cash card. They have a global cash card, which we can get into, but it's effectively they set people up as like employees for the sake of, if you want to spend your OneCoin, you buy a card. You have to buy the card from them. They then set you up as an employee of OneCoin.
And if you spend it,
put money on your card that way.
You have to spend 15% to get money out of the system.
Yeah.
Just so you can spend it.
But they also maintain that they have at the same time, they maintain they have no U.S. presence.
Right.
Which is obviously nonsense because we have exposure to
we have OneCoiners coming to our events.
Well, not only that, they talk about their meetings, like their regional meetings.
Right.
There's estimated between 7,000 and 20,000 OneCoin members in the United States. There's some dominant leaders in the U.S., one of which is Tom McMurrin. Tom McMurrin, unfortunately, hosts a show on Grant Cardone TV called The Coin Prophet, and Tom McMurrin is probably the most well-versed in blockchain technology of maybe anyone in the entire organization, including Ruja herself for sure, because she doesn't know anything about cryptocurrency. But yeah, McMurrin does this show, and he actually a few weeks ago interviewed Brock Pierce, and I mean, he talks about Ethereum, talks about Bitcoin, talks about other cryptocurrencies, but is a hardcore peddler for OneCoin. I was able to talk to him on the phone back in late March, and you raised all these questions about, the ridiculous amount of coins being 2.1 billion at the time, as well as a closed blockchain. I mean, you can provide a blockchain explorer without, open sourcing your code technically. And he's like, well, you have some really good points. I'll talk to Ruja at the Coin Rush event and ask these questions. Well, I've since been blocked by him, and he has a lot of impact. One of the other main OneCoin pimps in the U.S. is actually out of Canada. Ken Levine, who's a complete clown, but he's got a pretty big downline here. There's Carl Wilt, who you guys spoke with. There's Richard Marks in Florida. There's Sarah, I think is it McGee.
Is Carl a big OneCoiner?
He's got a pretty big downline. He's got over 1,000 in his downline.
I've seen this Tom guy.
These guys are in clear violation of SEC laws, and also you can't operate even an MLM company in the United States without registering it as an MLM. So these guys are certainly selling securities and futures, but they say they're selling these education packages, which I like to call miseducation packages.
They know it's bullshit.
Education packages that you pull money out of your Roth IRA to buy. That's ridiculous.
So as a result of the meeting, we came to find that Will, I believe, if not Will, Carl, one of these guys.
It was Will.
It was Will?
Will, yeah.
He got suspended from OneCoin because he used the words investment.
He then called us and gave us a death threat, which was very exciting. We were very excited about that. We told him where we were.
Yeah, he's not a nice guy. But then they reinstated him because I think that he's obviously an earner for them. Like I don't know why they even bothered other than to send a signal.
Right.
But they're retards over there. Yeah. So they also maintain that they just sell educational packages, and like they know that it's stupid because you'll talk to them and you'll say like, well, why would you buy an educational package for $10,000 when you could buy one for $700? And they'll be like, well, it gives you more education. If they included the tokens,
right?
Would it include the tokens? Would you buy it? Well, of course not. Okay, so then you're not an idiot.
So they have up until June 11th, they had a finite and fixed number of coins because their own promotional material for the last 18 months said that, to prove that you're not a money game who could just print money or whatever, cryptocurrencies have a fixed and finite amount. Well, Ruja Ignatova on stage in front of a giant, the Bitcoin killer sign that's like 3.5 stories tall, comes out and announces the great news, and people just went bonkers that she's going to double everyone's coins, right?
Right. And by moving blockchains.
Well, the whole pitch is absurd. Let her go on.
Absurd. And so about 2 minutes after that, she said that, this old blockchain that we have, which they don't have a blockchain, but this old blockchain that they have just can't accommodate new members in Africa and India. And this is right from any of the videos you could find online about CoinRush. And it can't accommodate merchants. 2.1 billion coins is not enough. So we're announcing that we're going to go global. We're going to be bigger than Ripple, and we're going to have 120 billion coins. Woohoo! And the crowd goes wild.
Right.
Yay, inflation.
And for those that are watching that don't know, the other side of that is that they don't seem to understand how market caps work or how anything really works. So what they're promising in addition to the doubling is a price that stays stagnant. So if you're
that doubles.
Well, the
price itself, the price stays stagnant. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So what ends up happening is you have double your money, right? That is the effect, net effect.
Yeah.
And it's even like weirder than that because like they changed not only the issuance rates and they changed a ton of things. And all that the OneCoiners seem to understand is that they'll now have twice as much money.
Correct.
Yep. There's no dilution that goes on in OneCoin, and there's only two things that can happen with price. It can either stay stable or it can go up. There's absolutely no going down or fluctuating. That just doesn't happen.
Well, if you look at the price, they have like charts of the OneCoin price. And the OneCoin price is the most the least volatile,
so fucking
linear chart you've ever seen in your life. There's no asset that has ever worked on that in the history of man. And so it's funny to me that they pretend that there's a market around this, but the OneCoiners. Here's the thing that's really weird to me about OneCoin. Then this gets into this. I have heard from I don't know if it was from Carl. I took notes. I have to reference them. I heard from one of the bigger fish in the operations, and I've heard this from others as well. That the money to be made in OneCoin for a lot of these guys isn't in the OneCoin. It's in the referral
downline
fees that you
stuff,
get, downline stuff, exactly. So a number of the big guys, as I understand it, they don't even care about their OneCoin because they're just in it for their downline money, which they can actually redeem. And a number of them are actively doing that. They're actively pulling out money on their downlines rather than taking it as OneCoin.
Well, I think they're getting paid in money, like actual money.
They are, yeah. And here's the other funny thing about OneCoin. They get a 50% fee. So if you get an educational package for like $10,000, $5,000 goes right to your downline or your upline or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So that means that $5,000 is what comes into OneCoin. And if you just assess this in any terms, like in any banking terms, what you'll find is that their liabilities are already at least 2 to 1 because of that system, and now they're doubling it again. So their liabilities will be at least 4 to 1.
And the beauty of it for them is that they're saying that it's this cryptocurrency. So when the market crashes, they're going to say their liabilities have gone to 0 per a market disruption.
Yeah,
which is kind of fucked up, but it's also kind of genius.
Genius.
Interestingly, one of the other competitor scam coins, Swisscoin, just went onto market, and CoinMarketCap's listed them, and within 24 hours they lost 99.25% of their value.
Well, I believe that. That is, in fact, that would not surprise me if that ends up being what like OneCoin's sort of final stand
Resting
is.
places.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually like release it unto the world and say like now everyone else, like now it's public, everyone can mine, and then they like put it on and like CoinMarketCap lists it, it goes out onto like Poloniex, and then it just kind of sinks and dies.
So you think they're gonna do a guaranteed $20 floor? Maybe that.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. If they did that, they would just walk away and go, well, I guess like the world didn't need that or want that. It'd be really like, I don't think you think that's what's going to happen. But when I think about like what the end game for OneCoin, for me that I think allows the principals to walk away without like a lot of liabilities.
I oddly enough think it's based off of Dash or based off of Darkcoin, because as much as we can find out about their blockchain, it is probably just numbers on a page. But I think that they, as a standby or something, because they seem to hint around at like another mining partnership or something.
They said that they're based on the X11
They're based on X11, and I think the only coin that's based off X11 is Dash. That was their whole feature at first, right?
Well, right, and that tells me that they are in fact,
I don't think that there's anything going on with that right now, but I could see them like just at some point turning over a forked copy of Dash onto the world.
Right.
And
no,
saying
I'm
that's
with you,
their
exactly.
blockchain.
Correct.
Well, I think that the big argument that even supporters and members of OneCoin should say is that, hey, show us the blockchain. You're not open sourcing your code. Show us the blockchain explorer.
You know as well as we do that that's a feature for them. They're telling their people that that's a feature.
Well, right, but if they understand the concept, then they should be able to use the block explorer and explore transactions back to the Genesis coin. But even in their back office, which says blockchain, which by the way has a little counter that's a looped video that makes it look all techie and stuff, there's only one transaction per block. 10,000 coins are produced every 10 minutes supposedly, and there's all these thousands and thousands or 2.1 million or whatever members that have submitted their tokens in order to mine these coins. Yet every block that's produced only shows a single transaction. That's
but Tim, you know as well as we do that the comprehension of these people is that mining is when you were given a token by Ruja out of her beneficence.
He may not know that. I even only found that out to the degree that I did.
Oh, interesting.
When we went to the OneCoin.
Well, this is their comprehension of it. You mine by getting tokens from Ruja, who in her beneficence gives them to you, and you put them into the blockchain, and out come OneCoins.
Yeah.
And all of it, that is their comprehension here. So, like, you're asking them to have any more comprehension than, like, I don't know, the most retarded person in the world has.
It's really scummy. You don't realize it until you go to a OneCoin event, but like a lot of the people that are invested are like English as a second language, cognitively disabled people, and if you tell them that this is what a blockchain does and this is whatever, like it does not process to them at all.
They just repeat literally word for word what the guy at the front of the room said too.
Yep. Yeah. So by definition,
people are going to say this is a scam. It's not a scam. You're like, this is a scam. Well, he says it's not. Right. That's the arguments that you have with OneCoiners.
So I guess maybe we should show how easy it is to give away actual cryptocurrency. Like I know you guys say that a lot of Ruja's just giving away all these coins. Well, we can really prove, I guess, to people that this is quite easy and like value transfer does happen. We can do it right here on the show. So
are we gonna take it? Are we gonna pull it out of someone's prison wallet and like give it onto your fans or what?
No, I'm gonna donate some sponsorship money, I think, to some of our awesome watchers here. So anyone watching the show here, get the live chat ready because you might need to drop your address in, whether it's for Dash or any other number. But we have a couple private keys on there that people can sweep. So get your phones ready. Chris, I hope you're not going to get your phone. All right.
I figured if you're giving away things, we were gonna.
Don't get too close, Tim.
Should I go ahead and spin this thing or what?
Yeah, just make sure you don't get too close that people can scan the codes from here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. Let me do this.
Give her a spin. Yeah, let's. Oh. Oh. What do we got?
That's 10,000 Doge. That's pretty cool.
I want some of that. I want some of that.
Okay, so whoever is watching in the chat, the first person to post their Doge address is going to get 10,000 Doge. So, you know, guys get cracking.
What's that worth in Bitcoin right now?
Like $4.
10,000.
Hey, that's not bad.
No, I don't think so. How much is $10,000 worth, or 10,000 Doge worth?
Geez, the going rate is like 40 Satoshis, so that makes it, I think it's like $1. Yeah.
Nice. That's big. Well done. Very generous.
I'm sure GDAX is going to add support for that soon.
Much generosity.
Hey, you never
Yeah,
know. We're hoping to have Dogecoin on the show here shortly. I'm on the fierce hunt for a Dogecoin dev, and you know, same with Litecoin.
Well, so is the
They
Dogecoin.
still have a Dogecoin dev?
There's still some devs. I think they're mostly just like Litecoin devs that just, you know, change a couple of the wording. They do a control replace or find and replace, and then they push it out as the code.
That's a lot of that's very little chain weight for Litecoin.
It's all
The
it's all
entirety of the
Litecoin,
Doge
yeah.
ecosystem is like what? What's it worth? Like $8.50?
What brought you into the space? Did you arrive here because of Dogecoin?
Dogecoin was my first purchase, actually. I got Angel Locks. Angel Locks is the winner of the Dogecoin. But yes, my first foray into buying cryptocurrency was I just wanted to actually try and like get some and understand how it worked.
How is it that you always are able to tell like the Dogers? They're just so nice and smiley.
They're always smiling.
Yeah,
They're always smiling. Happy people are Dogers.
Oh yeah, well, and you know what? The guy who sold me it was actually like super friendly. So like, I bought it on eBay. I bought it on eBay at all-time highs. So he was probably ecstatic. Like I think it was trading at around $3 for 1,000.
Doge is the only cryptocurrency that you could sell for PayPal and not like have any chargeback like concerns. Well, they're just so nice.
If anybody has the video of the Dogecoiners in New York, what was the name of that? Tone Vase
remember. It was so
maybe?
funny.
There's a video that is iconic for the Doge movement. I love every moment of it. It's both funny and accurate, and it's them at the Bitcoin Center in New York
with Nick Carey or whatever his name is, Nick Spanos.
Nick Spanos. Yes. Someone finds the link, maybe throw it in there. It is a wonderful video. I highly recommend it. And it only had like last I checked, only like 400 views. It was like well produced and everything. It was wonderful. All right, keep going.
So you guys see in the newest packages that OneCoin has offered. There's a Tycoon Plus for $7,500, and then there's the Ultimate package, right? The Ultimate package only costs 100,000 euros, but for 118,000 euros, you get 7 splits. You get automatic mining, which means your coins get mined right away. You get the doubling of your tokens and coins, and essentially you're promised at least 2 million OneCoins. So if we do the math, then 2 million OneCoins.
14 million bucks.
There you go. 14 million.
14, I can do math 7 times 2.
118,000. I mean, you know, if you mortgage your home, if you got $118,000 worth of equity, then it's a sure thing. It's a sure thing because Rouge's dictated and XCoinX proves that the coins are internally in their market worth $7, right?
And the Russian has audited the blockchain.
Oh, Dmitriev, right? So this guy's a crack up, right? So OneCoin claims to be the most.
Calling him.
We called his office.
Yeah, we called his office, and he ignored us for a while. But we talked like his secretary and harassed her for a while.
Was this at Fortis or S Systems? Did you guys call
Fortis?
No, we called both. We started out with we called Fortis, and they told us that they were just a
franchise or
professional organization. No, it was like Better Business Bureau, and so they gave us his number, and we called him.
So S Systems has one employee, and that's who currently audits the blockchain. That employee is Dmitry Dimitrov.
Well, him, and then he has a secretary. Unless he's...
They're coming up. They've doubled the size of their company.
Yeah, well, when we called it was a secretary. It could have been his girlfriend, but it sounded like it was like in a place with like a deep, like a long hallway. Like
you get like dinner on the other side.
Yeah,
it's like if you walked into this room and was like, "Hey, Chris, you want to talk to this guy?"
It was the payphone at the end of the hallway in the Shanty apartment.
I guarantee that's probably
I've
true.
seen the audit. Have you looked at the audit yet? Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, it's very impressive, very data heavy.
I've ever
Is it really?
seen. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know what you saw. What I saw was like it was like 8 pages maybe, but it was like the audit like was page 2, like of OneCoin. It was like page 3.
I think it was a letter of recommendation.
I gotta look at what I had because there wasn't much in there.
I'm
I think it
Dimitri.
was 2
I'm
pages.
auditing OneCoin.
All right, so I gotta look at what I have.
Semper Fortis audited the blockchain 1 month. That was in August of last year, right? OneCoin claims that they're the most transparent cryptocurrency in the world because they have a monthly audit. But to my knowledge, they've only published the August 2015 audit, and then they also published the one in January or February of this year by S Systems. Now, I went to S Systems' website as soon as they had announced that S Systems was now their blockchain auditor, and they at the time, S Systems' website said that that's one of the reasons that they were in business. We are a cryptocurrency blockchain auditor, as well as build websites, blah blah blah. So these guys had their business plan. They had a business plan of auditing cryptocurrency blockchains,
Right.
apparently.
Yeah.
The level of comprehension of that crowd is like cartoonish. It's like
I'm
a parody
telling you,
of
it's
itself.
it's so sad.
We're used to getting into arguments with we were getting into arguments with people that like were at least versed in like economics or like
They always
finance.
go one less deep than we can like
But they
possibly
iterate
comprehend.
down in stupidity
It's,
after a
it's
point.
amazing.
And it's hard to argue with some of them
Right.
because like
You
they will
you
come up with things that I'm
you
just
showed me
like,
the one
oh my
last week.
God.
The guy was like, okay, so like people say that OneCoin's a scam. Why don't you Google it? Is OneCoin a scam? Google will say
It's a
yes.
scam.
Then why don't you Google? Is Amway a scam?
Yeah.
Is
Google
life
a
a
scam?
scam?
Google
Is anything a scam? Is Google a scam? And you'll get lots of articles about how they're all scams.
It's so funny because this is a trickle-down information effect. Because these guys at the very top, Ruja and everyone else, says that this is a scam. Oh, the only people getting bad stuff about OneCoin are bloggers because they're penny-chasing parasites and they're trying to make money from advertisers who will advertise it on their site. And
they all have the same talking point, so it's not just one video. I've heard it from OneCoin Bob too. Yeah.
They've never seen Reddit, apparently. I mean, those guys aren't getting paid.
Oh. Well, here's what's weird to me is like I look at their YouTube channel and they have less subscribers than I do, and supposedly they have like 27,000 people. I go to their Facebook page, that's a little bit more active. Their Twitter has nothing. So I think that they have the most technically inept crowd on the planet.
Yeah. Well,
I bet the crowd hasn't even Googled them.
It's like going to a Dewey Decimal Club meeting or something. Like they're not going to know anything.
OneCoiners are not allowed to use Google because Google lies, and there's no such thing as researching anything on Google.
This is in North Korea. I just think they're incapable of using Google. I don't think it's an allowance thing.
I want to ask you a question because we've spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. I don't think that Ruja is the woman at the top of this. I really don't.
Right.
Because I believe that she believes a lot of this rhetoric. I really do. Because I've seen some of the
I'd
stuff
be willing
that
to bet
comes
that
with.
she has her money in it.
And that's what I also think. I would be surprised if she's also invested. So I wonder who's actually running this because it seems to me that there's even a higher level of authority who is smart enough to not be seen or associated with the project. And they kind of saw Ruja, and Ruja probably had
He probably told them that she had a 200 IQ.
Yeah, and they just sat her in a chair and said, "Perfect, you're our man." And
You're our man.
Yeah, and you can run this, and that's what she's doing. I think. But what do you think about that theory? Because I don't know if you've thought about it in those terms.
Absolutely. I think that Ruja Ignatova and Sebastian Greenwood are really just puppets. They've had some successful scams before, and I think that OneCoin got funded and approached by crime families in Bulgaria and Russia. There's some implications to that said, hey, look, you be our front people. We'll provide the funding in order to market this deal, and this is here's your script, and that's it.
What do you mean she's done scams before? Because I don't think that's true.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so Ruja, okay, look at this. Ruja Ignatova was convicted of fraud on 23 accounts in March of this year for running a company with her father called Walterhofen Gusworks, and that was a metal casting company, and she has a passport for Germany as well, so she could hypothetically be extradited to there once shit goes down. But she was convicted and pled guilty to embezzling money from both employees and suppliers for fraudulent accounting practices, etc. And this is something that is only available in the German court documents and newspapers, etc. But it's starting to get out there finally, and so OneCoiners cannot deny this. This is just fact.
Can you? I mean, like, do you have these documents?
Yeah. I'm actually working on on publishing them very shortly. I have 14 documents that show this. But even before OneCoin, she said that OneCoin, and Sebastian Greenwood on video said that OneCoin was Ruja Ignatova's first attempt at MLM. Juha Periela, who's their $4 million a month, top rep supposedly, also is on video stating that this is Ruja's first MLM attempt, right? Well, 3 months prior to OneCoin starting in like May of 2014, a video was released, kind of leaked onto YouTube, that shows her promoting a company called BigCoin. And BigCoin, BIGCOIN, was the precursor to OneCoin. In fact, the back office that OneCoin presently uses is a product of BigCoin and goes by the name of Coolsdaq, COOLSDAQ, and that's registered under Lupium, which is Sebastian Greenwood's company, and which is now owned by OneCoin Limited, if I understand that correctly. I have the documents. I'm speaking kind of off the cuff, but yeah, BigCoin was a $50 million loss for independent investors who had invested in that Ponzi scheme, and Ruja Ignatova's role in that was essentially treasurer. She had a company called Crypto Real Investment Trust, or CRIT, which managed the funds for not only BigCoin, but also a company called Prosper Club. Sebastian Greenwood was very involved in Prosper Club with his partner in crime, Jarl Moe, Jarlmoe, and yeah, between the two of them, that cost investors $50 million, and basically Ruja and Sebastian then created OneCoin shortly thereafter, and that was that.
That's great information. I remember hearing about Bitcoin.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Like,
but some of that stuff was all new to me.
So here's the thing: if Bitcoin did $50 million as a Ponzi, like where did that money go? Did Ruja get any of it?
Well, you got to remember Ponzi numbers are really weird.
Well, I
because
get
they
that.
always cite what was theoretically owed, but never what was on the books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the way Ponzi's work too. Is that if 85-90% of everyone loses their ass, it doesn't matter, because the 2 to 3% and then up to 10% who invested either made their money back or are filthy rich. So every single top member in OneCoin has been involved in previous Ponzi schemes, got in early, got out, and many of them sold their databases and customer base to OneCoin, which is why OneCoin claims 2.1 million members.
So here's the other thing. I'm trying to reconcile Ruja's history with McKinsey.
She did work for McKinsey at some point.
I know she did.
He's emailed
I've emailed partners that worked with her. She in fact, she has a number of articles that she wrote while there.
Right.
And she was there for a number of years. She worked at the Sofia and the Stuttgart offices, and I'm trying to figure out what people at McKinsey think about her, what their experience working with her was, and nobody will talk.
I think they need to release some kind of statement, because frankly,
I agree. When this goes down, I would like to let McKinsey know that I would like to tie their name to it. If
that was The Economist, by the way.
Oh, The Economist also, with
conference
OneCoin
about a year ago.
OneCoin sponsoring it, being the chief sponsor. The platinum
OneCoin
sponsor.
bought the platinum sponsorship. You know what? That's kind of just like how Josh O'Mara Garza bought the title sponsorship at North American Bitcoin Conference.
Not quite at all, because it's The Economist. It's more like if Josh.
You know what you're getting with Pumper Mo. That's what I will say.
Yeah.
Pumper Mo, it just runs an advertising.
It'd be more like if he was able to buy a sponsorship at the New York Times, for a giant conference they were putting on.
There was a scandal at the time, and I agree with you, but it is different.
okay, look, you want to be platinum sponsor? How does a media kit work? You pay this much money and you're platinum sponsor. You want a gold package? You want a silver? You want a bronze? What do you want? You know, a company comes in and they say, we want to do this. We want to speak at the event. We want to sit on a panel. Okay, let's negotiate back and forth. We want our big logos here, blah, blah, blah. Boom, done, right? I mean, maybe there should be some due diligence, but apparently there's not.
Well, that's on The Economist.
That's not, exactly. That's entirely on them. That's their reputation. They can either throw it out there and let anybody piss on it, or they can protect that brand.
I mean, frankly, with all of these are some of the biggest brands in the world, and I would love to be credited in some way with destroying their reputation. Because my role in Bitcoin is to shit on everything.
Well, recently I found Cointelegraph actually has like their promotional article account, and it's not like anyone's name. It's just like literally it says like catalog admin is the author, and it's all paid stuff. So you'll see it's like sports bettings or ICOs that are going on, and yeah, it's definitely just like a list of things you shouldn't even look at, or you know, so I guess that's where you can be very.
Isn't exactly a bastion of like knowledge right now. Like they're really promoting a lot of stuff.
Right.
Right.
In terms of The Economist, not one OneCoiner has ever said we sponsored the Eastern European Summit for The Economist. What they say is that Ruja Ignatova was invited
to world leaders,
and was invited to speak at and sat on a panel with world leaders.
Wasn't there a write-up in Inc. magazine too, like a month ago?
Could have been.
No, I know there was. Did you see that? For OneCoin.
Yeah,
There's a OneCoin. It was an editorial that they ran with OneCoin as the solution to your blockchain problems, and that was in Inc. So that's another one that I think that they should be, held to.
Yeah, there was no comments or reporting available on that article, but Huffington Post actually ran an op-ed in which this guy was talking about cryptocurrency and how OneCoin is the new cryptocurrency. Well, a ton of Bitcoiners got on that and are like, bro, did you see this? Do you know about the fake Forbes cover? Do you know about the scam financial IT issue? Do you know about Ruja's history? Do you know about all these failed Ponzi scams that OneCoin has been collecting like friggin' Pogs or something? And the guy, it was off. It was down within 24 hours. So yeah, Huffington Post, or the author, disavowed it, and it came to a dead link. Also, OneLife, which is OneCoin. You can't go on with a terrible name, OneCoin, which as soon as you pull up the name, 75% of it is ended in scam. So they changed their name in June 11th at London Coin Rush to OneLife and OneLife Academy, in order to kind of separate themselves from that OneCoin stigma. And when OneLife posted a video on their YouTube channel in which this 118,000 euro package was available for a $14 million return on investment as long as you keep it in coin unsafe for 2 years at 13% interest, YouTube actually took their channel down altogether. They've reinstated the channel somehow, but it's not on the same URL.
Right. You know what? I have to say, YouTube, I probably would have had them keep it up just so we can make archives of this stuff in the future. Because, I hate when this stuff gets whitewashed.
I'm with you.
But I think that you should probably take the article down and then
issue an apology. If I were YouTube, what I would do is I would, take accounts away from people. I'd keep their content up and say you no longer have access to this material staying up.
Well, that's what they did, but you got to realize that there's the same videos that are being distributed throughout the OneCoin network and shared on everyone's individual channels, blah blah blah, and so unless YouTube actually associated OneLife and OneCoin and all these top scamsters with some of the other channels that are promoting them, then there's not really a whole lot that they can do.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm with you.
One other thing I'd say too while we're on it, apparently there's a network of MLMers that are constantly in touch, looking to be each other's up and down lines.
Right.
And when OneCoin buys these companies, apparently part of what they buy is access to that network, because we've met a number of OneCoiners where we asked them how they got in, and they said, "Well, I got a text message."
Right.
So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of groups going around with MLMs, like, oh, I have this many user bases. Okay, give me, this cut, and I'll give you access to all these users. And maybe even they're kind of creating fake users and scamming the
we've
MLM.
heard that a lot of these guys are in fact second-time investors in a Ponzi, right?
I would
Absolutely.
a lot
I
of
could leave introspect to that. One of the major Ponzi schemes in Europe was Bonifa, B-O-N-O-F-A, Bonifa. And a couple months back, the 4 top leaders were arrested from Bonifa. Bonifa was shut down. They're, they will be eventually going to court. Well, one of the, not top 4, but maybe the 5th or whatever, leaders, his name is Chris Gobiel or something like that. He sold Bonifa's entire database and team to OneCoin. And the same thing happened with BNG International, which was another failed Ponzi scheme. The same thing happened.
What is a failed Ponzi scheme, by the way?
One that collapses, that doesn't have any more money to come in which the people that put it out, like the Steinkeller brothers, who put out Conligas, they just graduate to top leadership in this new company, OneCoin or whatever. You have OPN, which was Opportunity Network, and SiteTalk, and Unico, which Unico was something that Sebastian Greenwood was involved in, and also Frank Ricketts. Frank Ricketts was the CEO of OPN, which was the merger when Unico collapsed to now it's OPN, and now OPN collapsed, and now it's into OneCoin. And in fact, Frank Ricketts part of the deal when that merged was to be able to use his bank account. So there's one of the only still functioning of 2 bank accounts that OneCoin is using is Something Bank in Tanzania, Africa, and that's under
Something Bank.
Yeah, I have the documents, but if I can figure out how to do screen share, I can show you this stuff. But anyhow, so that's Frank Ricketts' account, and that was part of the whole deal. Is merge with us, let us use your bank accounts, and we'll pay you X amount of money, and now you're a top leader. We've established your downline. So these guys are looking to bring in leadership that they can give them an entire arm of their downline, because you got a left and a right arm, and they come in and they're already making $100,000 a month or $50,000 a month or whatever.
Now I'm hearing a lot of the same terms, upline, downline, left and right arm. Like you said you had a bit of a whiteboard or an economics of OneCoin over there. Maybe you could explain a bit more of that for us, Tim. Of just kind of how maybe even most MLMs kind of are structured.
Well, I think I could do it in a without using my whiteboard, because I think it's probably too bright.
Yeah.
But it works like a pyramid. You bring on people underneath you, they pay you. They bring on people underneath them, they pay them, and they pay you. And you have one side which is a little bit stronger, one side that's a little bit weaker. As far as commissions go, OneCoiners make 10% of anything that they bring on. So if they sell a $5,000 or €5,000 Tycoon package, then they make $500. But what's funny is that 40% of that goes into what's called a mandatory account, and only 60% goes into a cash account. So they're really only making 6% commission on anything they bring in, because their mandatory account can only be used to buy tokens or coins, and obviously the coins and tokens are useless.
I didn't know that. That's new to me. That's good info.
Yep. So, there was a recent video from Ed Ledbrick, who has been a big, MLM, success story, and he just did a tour in Australia, and in the video itself, he's questioned and put to point on how this value of OneCoin has achieved $7 a coin or however many euros, and he straight up admitted that it's an internal function of the company. And of course that video has since been taken down by the user. So he admitted that there's no real market discovery or market price in OneCoin, and that what we've all known is that Ruja Ignatova invents the price, and the only 2 options that it has is either staying stable for a bit or going up. So Chris, when you had said that the price of OneCoin goes like this, it actually doesn't go like that. What it does is it goes like this, and then it goes like this, and then it goes like this, etc.
Yeah, interesting. The graphs we've seen have been just like outrageous.
Yeah, they're very linear.
The way they got Bernie Madoff was his graphs were too smooth.
Right. Right.
Which he was only offering 12% per year.
Sure, at most I think 14.
14. People don't realize
Right.
like.
Dead giveaway. You got to look at the chart.
Dead giveaway.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like everybody looks at that, so they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get rich."
Hey Tim, you want to maybe make one of our lucky listeners rich by giving a spin of the wheel? Maybe we'll give away another dollar. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got 30 live viewers. You got to make sure. Like maybe I'll even bump it up. Maybe whatever we get, I'll times it by 3. We'll see.
Okay.
By the time the show's over, inflation's gonna take away that. Yeah.
All right, let's get see who's the lucky duck. Everyone has got a little bit of a different thing you got to do, but
That's
what do we?
10,000 Doge. So let's sprint it again because we already gave away Doge, right?
All right, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
There's only 2 of those.
What's the grand prize on that thing? What's the big one?
That's
0.01 of a Bitcoin.
0.01 of a Bitcoin.
So that's one Litecoin. I guess if anyone wants to steal that T-shirt QR code, they could probably do so at this point. But
we'll see. I'll take a look at the blockchain later. But okay, so you said it was one Litecoin.
OneLife coin or OneCoin, yeah. That's one Litecoin, yeah, that's right.
Litecoin. Oh well, it's got to come up in value.
Life or one coins.
There's a lot of irony in altcoiners like criticizing OneCoin. Like I have to say, like I
It's
get that it's
true,
very
it's true.
different, but there is also a lot of irony here too.
It's not that different.
So one of the really interesting things that that a former OneCoiner has done, which is J. Ryan Connolly, is he's started a website called OneCoinFraud.com, and what his gig is that anyone who wants to go there and trade OneCoin, he's just brought it to the open market because you can actually trade OneCoin to and from your back office apparently, but you can only sell it on the internal market in increments of 1.5% of your total holdings at any given time. And if you look at any of the Facebook pages, I mean, this is a company that claims 2.2 million members now, right? And if you look at like OneCoin's Facebook or OneLife's Facebook, they even don't even post comments or posts rather, but intermittently every couple days, and there's maybe 16 or 20 or maybe 25 comments on each of these posts. But when you click to open, say 25 or 30 comments, often only like 10 show up. So obviously there's a lot of deleting going on, and even of the ones that are left, they can't, the negativity, the questions about not being able to sell or trying to sell, you know, multiple packages, which, by the way, if they're selling education or miseducation packages, then why would some individual own 1 or 2 or 3 tycoon?
That's a good question.
Of course.
Very good question.
I mean, because no one would buy the education, they're only doing it for the Ponzi points so that they can mine Ponzi coins, which I think is like 70 to 1 right now. And so, by definition, this isn't mining; it's an exchange. If I have X amount of tokens, and if I have so many Dogecoin and I want to buy a friggin' Dash, or on any of these, you know, cryptocurrency websites or some exchanges, then I can do that. But it's X amount of X tokens for X amount of other coins, you know. So it's a direct exchange. There's no mining.
Well, for those that I think are listening and may not understand some of these finer points, it's very esoteric, but they have this system by which you buy an educational package, you get with it tokens, which is really funny because they don't know that tokens is like a generic term for tokenization.
Right. Yeah,
they think that a token is like a proper noun.
Right.
Like you get the tokens, and then the tokens are then converted
put into
through
the
mining.
blockchain.
Through
They're
mining,
put into the blockchain.
I think they're putting the tokens are fed into the miners that then produce the OneCoin. And
Right.
One coin.
I think you put the tokens into the blockchain, and the blockchain spits out the one.
And then you ask them, who creates the tokens?
Ruja,
Ruja.
by her beneficence.
But through her beneficence. provides the token.
Obviously created on an Excel spreadsheet, just like the OneCoins are. But anyways, Ruja had one single interview with a cryptocurrency group back in, I think, May of last year in 2015. Which was Estonian trader. And Estonian trader asked her some questions, which of course she couldn't answer because she doesn't know anything about cryptocurrency. But one of the questions was whether OneCoin was a POW or POS algorithm, and she said POW. I think because she only had two choices. But if it was indeed some sort of proof of work, then for one, there's only an alleged 4 locations in which the mining is taking place, if that. But really, we all know it's just happening on her laptop alone. But someone did an analysis.
Ascribe a lot of credit to Ruja.
Yeah. Someone described that if OneCoin was a proof of work protocol, that the energy being consumed would be enough to light Helsinki daily.
Well, and or it's not.
Right. Right. Of course. Well, that would be the obvious point. Yeah.
Well, but what advantage would that have to be spending millions of dollars a day on the proof of work when you could create it in your Excel spreadsheet?
Well, when you have one miner on your system, the answer is that proof of work is stupid.
Well, here's the thing I would say too is I was there at the OneCoin event. They were using all of our rhetoric. They were using all of the things that we've talked about for years. I felt very dirty personally. I left there and I recognized everything that they came from. That they took bits and pieces of what we believed,
right,
and they packaged it in this format that these other people would then digest. It's one of the reasons why I say it's ironic that even we're doing this altcoin thing, or even Bitcoin too, and we're here talking about it because there's a whole contingent of the world who believes that what we're doing is identical. And it's funny because if you listen to some of the meetings, the rhetoric is identical. It is clearly just a bank that they're running that is insolvent, and that's my distinction that I would suggest makes this different. Whereas this is actually a scientific innovation.
Right. I see your point. They're incurring liabilities on
yeah. But that's what makes how much liability did they incur when they increased the coin size from 2.1 billion to 120 billion?
Well, they double their liabilities or more. That's what they're claiming.
That's 57 times the coin circulation just by the wave of a magic wand.
But that doesn't matter at all. How many times? It only matters if you're making the price up. My point would be
his point I think is that you are in fact doing a compound interest equation where they're just continually increasing their liabilities, not only at the rate of appreciation but also in their unfunded liabilities that will appear at the time which theoretically manifests.
But my point would be that if they one day say that now we are going to make mining public, they would absolve themselves of the liabilities exactly as the Ethereum Foundation absolved itself of liabilities when it released Ethereum.
That might be.
Do you guys know how many OneCoins were put into circulation while there was only 2.1 billion coins? There was 10,000 coins every 10 minutes that were put into circulation. So 60,000 coins every hour.
Yeah.
Times 24. So 60,000 times 24 is 1.44 million coins daily, right? And that was during their fixed and finite years. So now multiply that by 57 as far as, I don't know what when the last OneCoin will be put into circulation other than it's going to take less than 12 months before it's gone.
Right.
But let's look at this. So if OneCoin had a market cap of, that was 2.1 billion times a $7 value, then it was something like, my phone is not going to give me a scientific calculator, but they were doing maybe $60 billion a year, but by increasing the coin cap by so much, it's something like several $1 trillion over a couple years.
And sounds legit.
She's magic, and she can wave the wand, and she could, increase the size and the market cap, and blah blah blah.
I just enjoy that what they've done is they've started a money printing company.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The Federal Reserve is bad, but she knows what she's doing.
Here's something else I'll say though too. Like one of the things about OneCoin that's very funny to me and very ironic is like this is the answer to the blockchain the banks are looking for.
Right.
When the banks, we go to the banker conferences. We've been to the American Banker Conference last year. We've gone to a number of these conferences, and the bankers will tell us all the things they want.
Tell
and I
us
look
what
at the
they want.
list, and I'm like, well, it's OneCoin that you're asked for. And you see this in like what Settlecoin I think they're doing now.
Right.
Like JP Morgan Chase has one. If it's not Settlecoin, there's another company, one of the other big banks doing it. It's very funny to me because like,
exactly that.
I think that what happened with Bitcoin, and I think the SEC is you can have your opinion about them as you will, but they've decided not to get involved in this business. So what's happening now is that a lot of people are finding ways of making money by offering securities in ways that were previously not possible. You see this even at some level with a lot of the like Coinbase decisions that they're making lately, or even like ABC decisions they're making lately.
Right.
With like Filecoin or something like that. Now it's different.
You have a regulated exchange
too.
getting into shit coins.
It's different in their cases too than what we have here at OneCoin. But what I will say is like a lot of this is like completely new because of I guess the lack of like SEC regulation that has been present up until now. So it remains to be seen if anything will change there. I don't even care one way or another, but it's worth noting that this was born out of that void of power.
You know, one thing that a lot of OneCoiners, particularly in the U.S., don't understand is that this is not the first Ponzi scheme that's collapsed. A lot of these guys that are signing up for the as a OneCoin member are told that in order to do it, you gotta register outside of the United States. So some of these guys are registering in the Caymans and places like this in order to avoid SEC laws. But we know how SEC laws work, and that doesn't exempt you from liability from selling securities in the U.S.
Right.
And Zeke Rewards is a giant failed Ponzi scheme that collapsed like 2.5 years ago or something like that, and has just been in the courts and prosecuted and found guilty. And what's happening next is that the receiver, who's working with the prosecution, is clawing back any of the money that the winners, which is the 12.5% that actually made money, have taken from their downline, the victims. So these guys think that they're all swift and cool and making money and all this stuff. Well, when this all goes down, anyone that's brought on made $10,000, $100,000 from a downline, from their downlines and their victims, that can all be clawed back. And so
the SEC is going to be very thankful, I think, for the KYC that they were doing.
KYC, that's a great point. So OneCoin is wants to bank the unbanked. I don't know where I've ever heard that in the cryptocurrency space before, but how do you bank the unbanked if you require KYC? And the answer is you can't. So
right.
They're like, we're going to bank the unbanked, and we're going to make banking affordable for everybody. By the way, they just increased their withdraw transaction fees from 15 euro when you want to pull money out of your back office cash account, that 6% that you make, from 15 euro to 30 euro. Now, I don't see that as affordable banking. I see it as extortion. But how do you
the goal is to keep the OneCoin in the system?
Say again?
You want to keep the OneCoin in the system.
Of course.
If this works, you won't need to withdraw it.
Or if no one needs the money, then it's easy to wipe the whole all the accounts and just freeze the screen.
Yeah, you can do that too.
I maybe want to take the end of the. We're at the top of the hour here. I kind of want to shift the conversation towards like other projects in the space that have been questionable and have kind of gone out in a fizzle. One of the most notable ones I think was Paycoin, which really they did a lot of very similar things, but they did have a blockchain that they were very clever in the way that they used proof of stake to create these super stakers. And I'm kind of curious to hear how you think maybe Cripsy was involved with that, because I know Chris, you guys have a. You guys have a lot
we know
of
all these guys.
I'm Chris's friend in the Cripsy case.
Josh Garza, we've even brushed up. I have his cell phone number in my phone. Like I've talked to him before. I got his business card. It's the nicest business card I've ever seen.
Yeah. I got kicked out of his inner circle.
Big Vern, obviously, we know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to touch on that, the thing is, you're right. Like the OneCoiners don't know that we have a history of fraud in this space. Like
the difference.
Extensive.
Bitcoin and Paycoin is that Paycoin really thought they were not doing anything illegal. They didn't know they were running a Ponzi.
Yeah, Josh Garza did not know at all that he was. And I think the Ruja's the same way.
Ruja, it sounds like, has a history of this.
You can see some of the internal emails.
I disagree with that. Ruja knows exactly what she's doing at Sebastian. They have history with it. That's a quick way to make money.
You know what? You might be right at some level. I think that the stuff that she says would suggest to me that she doesn't know the degree.
She has no idea what she's doing here. Like, I agree with that. It's very clear she's very ignorant of the entire space.
The other thing too that I would say too with OneCoin is like these people are blinded by greed. So even though she has a history in it, I could very easily see her having a narrative in her head where like the last time was different than this time because this time we're doing it the right way and. There was some other.
Or she could have been the treasurer in the last one and been like, if I'd run it, it wouldn't have been a Ponzi.
Yeah, that's what I think. We don't really know, and we may never know. To me, that's uninteresting. So, like, it's funny because we talk about this a lot. Like, scammers don't know they're scamming is one of the tenets on our show. We have seen enough scams to know that it is the greatest of intentions that often leads to people losing all of their money at every step of the way. And in fact, I mean, as a Dogecoiner, it's funny because like I saw that even happen in that movement for a little bit with the whole Moolah scandal and all that other shit. So at Paul Verne, like, you know, he probably had more of a cognition of what was going on, but he made some questionable decisions, like this large asset purchases that were what he did here, like his house. That I don't think there's any really good reason for that, other than maybe he wanted to leave it to his kids. But even that, I think, is going into receivership.
I think he gave it to his wife.
But I think he's going to receivership.
Yeah,
too.
no, I think you're right.
So maybe he did.
Yeah, isn't it part of Florida law that if you commit or declare bankruptcy, like your assets aren't taken?
They can't take your house, but it's different if you run a Ponzi scheme.
That's true for like civil. It's true for civil and not criminal. I think.
Right.
Is what the easy answer is. I think. So
OneCoin knows exactly what they're doing, and Ruja knows exactly what he's doing too. Because
I can't believe that Ruja does though, because Ruja is so fucking.
No, let me illustrate for you, okay? So when they started accepting Bitcoin, they sent out a press release that it was right when China Union Pay got canceled. They said, hey, we're now accepting Bitcoin for payments due to the continued fear in the Bitcoin community because of plummeting prices, and that Bitcoin price continues to in rapid decline. Now, this is at a point in which, in the last 12 months, Bitcoin price had literally doubled, and so that was her reason for it. And what she said is, she said, my staff, when we started taking Bitcoin, had to spend 3 days in order to set up the system to accept it. So instead of, say, 3 minutes to set up a Bitcoin wallet.
But doesn't that indicate to you that she has no idea what she's doing?
Absolutely.
She has no idea that the price is going down?
Well, she said also that everyone's missed the Bitcoin boat because no one wants to pay $600 or whatever for a Bitcoin now. It's too expensive because, of course, you can't buy $20 worth of Bitcoin. So it's all fraud.
I don't think that's evidence that Ruja knows what she's doing, though.
I think it's different terms, guys. Like you're on a technological standpoint, yeah, she has no clue what she's talking about. But from like the economics and the actual like business that they're committing, I think she has a pretty good idea of what she's doing.
Here's what I would say. We have what's his name we just interviewed, Pirate at 40.
Pirate at 40, yeah.
For me, it's kind of an uninteresting question. Everybody finds it interesting, and I respect that, and that's fine. But for me, it's like very uninteresting because what happened, and like the motivations and stuff are good for like made-for-TV movies or whatever. But like in terms of like the objective outcome, it's just the same. So we can make empirical assessments based on outcomes more easily without intent. Now we talked to Pirate 40. You can listen to that interview. He just woke up one day and was running a Ponzi, and that can happen to you in life. You're holding for money.
We say that all the time, and no one ever believes it, especially if they're new to Bitcoin.
Yeah, and you can listen to Pirate at 40. We don't even know if that he's being honest in that interview. I mean, I think he is, but like, yeah, it's obvious to me that you take children who have limited competency. Ruja's probably one of them. They go into a space with like weird intentions, and they get blinded by greed. They wake up the next day, and all of a sudden their liabilities are like up above here. And you have to decide, like, well,
books don't balance.
Do I turn myself into
that was
the
a thing they
cops,
needed
or do
to
I double down? And they didn't get to be in that position without being double downers, so they always double down. And then
also they're arrogant. They think they can think they can win it back.
And there's some stories of people who do, like
the FedEx guy.
The FedEx guy.
Yeah,
the FedEx guy. I mean, it wasn't a Ponzi, but he put it on black. I think is the story.
Yeah,
and he was unable to make cash flow work for 1 week. He put it on black. He won, and that was a success. So So, like, not that that's what you should do, but, like, what would you say about the FedEx guy? Because, like, it could have been red, and then he would have been what?
He would have gone to jail for, like...
Right, exactly.
So one of the failed and collapsed Ponzi schemes that Ruja and OneCoin acquired is called Univerteam. And so what these guys did is they acquired those databases, contacted all of the Univerteam members who lost all their money, and said, look, sorry that we lost all your money with Univerteam, but now we got the next big thing. We're going to take over Bitcoin, and anyone will be happy to pay back your, to pay back your losses in OneCoin as long as you sell 2 Tycoon packages at $5,000 each, or 5,000 euros each.
Right.
So I mean, this is the tactics. I mean, they're giving away free, they're giving away worthless OneCoin, right, as long as they bring $10,000 back into the game.
Okay, I would say, too, if we're running low on time, something that should get at least discussed briefly is when this is going to explode. Because I think that's going to happen here by the end of the year. Yeah. December is when I think it's going to happen.
That was going to be my exit question for you guys. But I had one other one, too, just before we get to that. Is do you think it's possible to run, like, an altcoin as a MLM? Like, even doing, like, smart contracts?
Right. I don't know what an altcoin is if it's not an MLM.
The DAO is pretty close.
Lots of them are.
Yeah. That's actually where all innovation is going to be in the space. Going into next year, with like this notion of the app coin, it's going to be clearly like stepping more and more MLM-ish as it goes on.
Having referrals and smart contracts based on referrals and stuff like that.
It's all based on referrals. Like that's what all altcoins have been always.
Yeah.
Well, you could almost say that like Bitcoin was like that in a way. Like Roger Ver, when he was giving away 3,000 Bitcoin, like he was probably going to create more than $3,000 in wealth in the Bitcoin space.
This is what we were dealing with
exactly
back then.
the point. That's Chris's point.
This is the rhetoric.
This is the rhetoric we built.
It was no different.
This is the house that Bitcoin built. We built this for them.
The best quote I've heard so far on talking about OneCoin is life is a Ponzi. Like if people don't keep coming, it eventually dies. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what Isabella Kaminska's point is, by the way.
About capital inflows.
Yeah.
And, the concern. I mean, look. Here's the thing about Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin may be a scam. We say this all the time. We love Bitcoin, but it becomes a scam at the point at which it no longer provides utility to people who need it. And the only thing that separates Bitcoin from like every other altcoin that you probably give away is that every day there are people who need Bitcoin in order to put food on the table. And we talk to them on our show. We try very hard to find these people. It's very hard to find them, but they do exist. And the reason it's hard to find them is they don't want to talk to you because they need Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest reason Bitcoin works, because you have capital inflows into your asset class. And if those capital inflows are either entirely speculative or not based on like an actual circular economy, then you will necessarily die as people go broke, and we'll see that happen with OneCoin.
Right.
So like that's one of the things we return to a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well,
OneCoin and all these MLM schemes with these coins, it is a new trend, and it's not gonna go away anytime soon. So, oh, by the way, you guys, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this says OneCoin, the #1 cryptocurrency in the world. That's someone on stage.
Yeah.
And all these MLM coins are brand coins. There's no utility to them. They're brand coins. So if our
that's
brand,
largely what we would say about altcoins generally.
Well, the distinction between OneCoin and altcoins is that OneCoin is a centralized bank, and it's just that simple.
Like Ethereum.
Kind of like Ethereum. But I think a lot of the altcoins, at least, are like conceivably not banks.
Right.
They don't have like liabilities and ledger sheets that are like kept internal.
No, I get that. That's
amounts
true.
due.
Still.
I have one last prop I want to grab real quick. Give me a sec. Sorry.
Is that a dildo? He's gonna get it.
Hey, now be nice.
It's always a dildo.
I also want to point out that there's a big B on that altcoin wheel.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, you know what? There's actually there's 24 spots. 8 of them are Bitcoin. Another 8 are altcoins. And there's 2 T-shirts and what was the other 2 things?
Do you do this to dump your altcoins?
No, this is actually a first for the show, and I figured you guys would have lots to say about it. You seem like more Bitcoin purists.
The other thing too is that when we see these new people in the space now, we always find an altcoin that attracts them. Always.
Right.
And right now, it's Steemit is the new one.
Yeah.
I'm seeing. It was Ethereum for a while. It was Ripple for a while. And what happens is everybody comes into the space. They want to replicate the success of Bitcoin. And they're here as speculators, and rarely as users. We do meet the users. That's a different story. But the speculators arrive, and they want to replicate this. And that is, in fact, the reason why
they're here for
works.
greed.
is there's capital inflow because there's a feature list that's selling an altcoin.
Correct.
And then one by one it peters out, or if you get lucky, something explosion happens, like with a DAO.
That was fun.
Right, but like Steam's gonna be the new one, and who knows what'll be next?
You always know what's gonna come because they announce it.
And what ends up happening is the ones that are here to get rich don't get rich, and they leave, and they either join another scam, or who knows what happens to them, or there's something like Gianni.
Right.
Or what happens is they realize that like, oh, there was actually something greater here that they were for, and then they generally end up in Bitcoin. And then that becomes part of like the battle. Like he's written a white paper on this.
It's true. I didn't write the white paper.
Cool. We could probably do a whole other show
Jesus wrote a
on
white
discussing
paper.
this, but let's get to Tim here.
Yeah.
Sure.
You guys seen this?
Jesus. Don't put that so close.
This is
wow, you have a copy.
I would like one of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's $20. It's the only issue that Financial IT actually pays for because you can download the rest of the PDFs, right?
We have to
But
get that.
if we go to the table of contents here, right? We go to the table of contents. What we see is that this February financial issue is exactly the same as January, and exactly 48 of the 52 pages are exactly the same. So these guys like to put this, the name of the publisher of Financial IT Magazine is Chris Principe, and so these guys have videos of Chris Principe saying OneCoin's not a Ponzi scam, blah, 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 but this is an absolute reprint. Every single page, every article, every ad in the same place for the January issue, which had Gareth Richardson on the cover. In fact, it still has Gareth Richardson as one of the title stories. So
Funny.
This is similar to what happened with the Forbes magazine cover. They spent $300,000 in order to get the inside cover using brand voice of Forbes Bulgaria, and then they promote it as Forbes International, because Forbes Bulgaria, Forbes International, it's international, so it's, and there's nothing wrong with advertising, but when you come out and you say our, fearless leader was on the cover of Forbes magazine, and the way that magazine was, so on the cover of Forbes Bulgaria was, I forget what the dude's name was, but what you would do is you would tear off the cover, and then Ruzia has the second cover, right? And that was, something that they promoted and said was legitimate, and it's just another marketing trick and deceit, which OneCoin is notorious for, and Ruzia lies all the time about, in order to get new investor money in to pay off existing investors, and that just can't continue forever. That's what the definition of
Ponzi. So
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so let's, I guess, wrap up here. I just had a funny comment in the chat from Jurgis. He says he wants that magazine and some hand lotion. Your taster. Yeah, let's spin the wheel again. I'll pull up the Coinigy chart, and we have a little tradition on the end of the show here where we predict the price of Bitcoin in 1 week, and then we'll also kind of get you guys to predict how long you think OneCoin is going to last. Sec here.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, give her a spin.
You know what?
We got 100 Jumbucks.
Nice. Okay, cool. I'll whoever posts the Jumbucks address in the chat first, we'll get that 100 Jumbucks, and maybe we'll do one more, and hopefully it lands on Bitcoin. You mind doing one quick more spin?
No, not at all. That's a dash. Did we already give away a dash?
No, not yet. So I guess no Bitcoin's being given away, and all the most worthwhile ones are being given away, according to Chris.
Let's do it again. What the hell, right?
We can do it again. Yeah, that's cool. So,
as long as you're having fun, I think it's great. As long as you're having fun, I'm 100% for it. And
cool.
You guys are having fun, so I like that.
Here we go. We got 1 million Satoshi. Finally, there's some Bitcoin.
All right. So you want to hold that up to the camera, and whoever is fortunate enough to claim that private key.
Yeah, let me make sure that I can do this here.
So that's fun.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah, you maybe go.
Got it. It's mine.
Nice.
All right. We're
good. Yeah, I think so. We'll see if no one gets it, then I'll post it up at the end of the video here. But okay, so let's we got the chart pulled up here on my screen. What do you guys think Bitcoin's going to be in a week's time? We're cruising at 580 right now. We're shown some fairly relative stability after that, Phoenix hack.
Whoa. Well, I'm seeing a camel hump form in the early stages of a rooster's neck and oxtail on the back end. So I'm gonna say that I think next week this time Bitcoin's going to be $580.23.
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying if you're in Bitcoin for speculation, you're going to get your ass handed to you, and you shouldn't be here for that reason. Be here because it's fun. Don't be here because you're trying to get rich. That being said, I have a more interesting answer than Jen said.
Oh.
Because I've been following a story right now that I'm really dying to see come to fruition, and it'll come to fruition.
Ooh, all right.
Which is that football season's starting. As I
true.
understand
That's a good point.
all of the bettors are going to be putting their money on the order books coming the 28th, I want to say. Which
28th of this month?
Yeah, which is another 6 days or so. Yeah,
okay.
5 days. So what that tells me is that the price will bump up. I don't know how much.
On the 28th.
Yes. Parallel to that, I'm investigating another story with you about the rise in price of Amazon gift cards.
That's true.
Which is trading. They're trading at historically unprecedented heights.
True.
Which might, in fact, be most of the volume for sports betting. So I'm going to say that it'll hit 590, maybe 600.
Oh, I'm going to need
do what you want.
one number.
600.
I bet 650.
600 is what I'm going to say.
600.
Fun. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then Tim, what are you thinking?
This is in 1 week.
Yeah, 1 week's time. So next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Do I win Dogecoin if I'm right?
I will send you some dough if you win.
I want Darkcoin.
I'm going to say 594.50.
594.50. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna probably be fair. We got that nasty little wick on stamp, so I'm wondering if that needs to resolve here. We
Past
broke
performance does not indicate future performance. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I'm just gonna
These guys are clearly traders.
Yeah.
I think Andreas said the easiest way to get to $1 million worth of Bitcoin is to start with 2 million, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll go for that.
he's right.
I'll say 560, and I'll continue holding on to my Litecoin. I'm hoping out for something big, but
That's very wise. Very wise.
I'm
Very prudent.
I'm looking forward to seeing who's right.
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll
You
tweet
just
it
want
out.
to know if football season correlates with the 28th.
Oh, I'm
the
dying
only
to
thing
know.
you want to know is if Bitcoin jumps on the 28th.
Dying to
All
know.
right.
Me too. I'm with you.
I'm gonna see who got the dash here. I'm not familiar with what a dash address looks like, but it looks like Angelox got the.
That sure
jump
looks
on.
like a Bitcoin address.
Bet it does.
Yeah, so because I got a couple here that start with X. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that sounds very dashish.
Yeah, it sounds very dashes.
Okay, then Angelox is claiming everything. He's the quickest of them all.
That makes perfect sense. I bet he has. I bet he's got like all of the testnet Bitcoin forks ready to go.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting ETC on the chart or on the wheel, but yeah, I decided against
That's
it.
my favorite of the Bitcoin testnet scams. That and Monero.
We are maximalists and you are not. And you know what? If you want to do another show, either on your show or ours, we'd love to hash some of that out with you.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Because we have some very different views. We are in fact the reason Bitcoin maximalism I think was coined.
Yeah, I
was
think you're
based
right.
on our arguments with Vitalik. So yeah, we don't mind defending that position.
We'll plan it out soon. You guys can be the host and throw me
Yeah,
on
that'd be fine. I do that.
But yeah, Tim, thanks so much for coming on the show. Like, we look forward to seeing your article coming out. I know you had a lot of really good information for us.
Yeah, Tim, thank you so much for what you're doing. You're doing hard work. You're doing it well. I've seen you online before. It's a pleasure to meet you in person. Love what you're doing.
Yeah, that really is incredible. Actually,
Yeah, after the show,
I've
I
done
want to introduce you to one or two people too.
a lot of thought into this. So
Thanks, guys, and vice versa. You guys, Bitcoin Uncensored is pretty punk rock shit. So.
Oh wow, that's the best compliment that anyone's ever given us. That's exactly what we like to hear.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But I mean, what we really need to do as a community is, when it's instantly recognizable that these are scams, because I mean, it's OneCoiners say that you guys are scared, you're fearful, you have everything.
We are.
To take over, blah blah blah. I mean, it's simple for us, to see through a lot of these scams. And when we do, we have to come together and we have to fight against them to take them down, so that when they do come crashing down and a dozen people kill themselves over it and others lose their home and everything else, that no one could say that the Bitcoin community didn't do their part to fight against this. So, in some of the Reddit posts on this, I've listed the locations of every single OneCoin meetup and OneCoin Eventbrite and things
wonderful.
like that. Possibly find. and we need to continue to do that. Maybe even put it on a centralized server or something like the centralized server, and you know, to show up and ask the hard questions like you guys did at the OneCoin meetup, because it's bullshit. It's going to take a lot of people's money, and it's going to mess with the entire cryptocurrency community. It's going to create greater regulations, more hoops to have to jump through. It's going to create greater expense for actual cryptocurrency enthusiasts and companies that are coming up in order to be compliant with, you know, all these new global legislations and things that are going to happen when, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars disappear from a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin called OneCoin. You know, it's sad, but it's what we have to do, and we are creating history, and so we have to self-regulate and be proactive to kick these scams in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's listening to this absolutely should try their best to do a little bit of community service for Bitcoin, show up at a OneCoin meeting and disrupt it.
If it's fun.
Yeah, and also report on YouTube their scams, and report on Facebook their scams, and attack all of their Facebook. If you Facebook OneCoin, you know, I'm blocked from probably 96% of every single OneCoin group and person in the world out of the 2.1 million. But, you know, not everybody is. So, just, you know, if you get drunk one night and decide to explore some OneCoin scam pages on Facebook, give them a piece of your mind. Tell them how ridiculous they are. Tell them they know nothing about economics and nor technology. The company doesn't even have a CTO. There's no known developers. Nothing. Kick them in the ass and say that's not how reality works.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I have to add is maybe tell them to watch Blocktalk. We do a lot of hard-hitting interviews here where we ask some tough questions for these altcoin developers to really find out, you know, what they're doing. Like, we really want to know if they actually are proving new computer science, or if they're, you know, have the economics figured out. And I'm trying to do my own part here, guys, and I'm really happy that you guys were coming out on the show today. It was a real fun chat, and I think we entertained a lot of people. I'll share my screen here to end with those two QR codes if anyone missed it. So, you know, get your phones out and try and give them a scan. But
Sweet.
Yeah, you know, I'm just giving it away, you know, because it's just so worthwhile. All right, but
Alex,
yeah.
This is something OneCoiners can never do, by the way.
No,
that's
exactly.
Well, they have a OneCoin wallet. You should, for laughs, you should download it and
Right.
just install it and run it, because it's like
You can't withdraw.
you can't do anything.
One last thing. Okay, look. So OneCoin has this KYC thing, right? This is one of my final points. You can buy any package in OneCoin for 5,000 or 118,000 euros, and they do not ask for KYC. It's only when you want to trade it. So what my prediction is, this is my prediction. When OneCoin falls, when this Ponzi scheme collapses, all of that KYC information and personal information that every single one of those members has taken, boom, exploited on the black market. Bye. Add insult to injury. You're done.
Oh yeah, we didn't get
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
We didn't get what do you guys think the final date for OneCoin is? Maybe the day it gets listed on exchanges. Like, well, when do you think it's going to bust?
December 10th.
I think it's December, because I think a number of them are going to pull out in December. So I don't know what the date is, but I'm going to say December. Maybe it'll go past that. It all depends on how many people they get in. If the capital inflows are greater, they'll keep it running for a little while.
They were having trouble last October paying some of their sellers. So, like, who knows?
Yeah, Chris Stone was, you know, there's been like 4 or 5 people that have come out now that have had their accounts completely frozen, and that's not how cryptocurrency works. These guys had all their OneCoin Ponzi coins stolen by their accounts shut down.
Yeah, right. Ethereum does that.
It happened once, guys. Come on.
Doesn't matter how many times it happens.
Okay. All right. Well.
Hey, Alex? You mind if we do a traditional Bitcoin Uncensored goodbye?
All right. As long as I do the final word.
You do that. You go.
You do it. I'm
all
right now.
This is John Seth chunking up the deuce of the South. The masses ended. Go in peace. St. Catherine, pray for us.
There you go.
Everyone at home, see you in the next 1,000 blocks.